Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we're talking about art galleries. So I saw a headline that referenced a study that said going to art galleries may improve our well-being. And it's particularly funny because I went to an art show. Well, I guess it was kind of more of like an art fair kind of a thing a couple weeks ago. And walking around, I said to my friend who I was there with, I was like, this just confirms that I don't get art. Like, I did find a couple things that I like.
Yeah.
There's still some things that I just don't understand. Like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to see in it. And then I have a very hard time wrapping my head around the pricing.
Yeah.
Like, it is wild. And I don't understand. Like, there's so many factors that go into it.
It's an art.
Exactly. So anyway, because that was a recent activity, when I saw the headline, it gave me pause. So I skipped the article and went right to the study itself because that's who we are. So from what I can tell, it seems like it was published October 2025 from the Institute of Psychiatry, Psychology, and Neuroscience at King's College London. I think it's worth noting it has not been peer-reviewed, and it was conducted on behalf of the Art Fund and Psychiatry Research Trust. I'm assuming that's who paid for this then.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. They looked at the physiological responses of participants while viewing masterpieces by world-renowned artists in a gallery. So they had 50 volunteer participants that ranged in age from 18 to 40 who viewed either original artworks at the Courtauld Gallery in London or reproductions of the same paintings in a matched but non-gallery environment.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? The researchers then monitored participants' heart rate variability and skin temperature to track levels of interest and arousal.
Okay.
Here's what they found. Cortisol levels fell by an average of 22% in the gallery group, while the other reproduction group saw an 8% decrease in cortisol. I know, right? Those viewing the original art also had more dynamic heart rate activity. They say this indicates that art engages the body through both emotional arousal and stress regulation. What's more interesting to me, so they're pro-inflammatory cytokines, so IL-6, which is Interleukin 6, and TNF-alpha, both of those cytokines are linked to stress and chronic disease, dropped by 30% and 28%. So the IL-6 dropped by 30%, TNF-alpha dropped by 28%. For those viewing the original art in the gallery, no change was observed in the reproduction group. So this, they say, suggests that art has a potential calming effect on the body's inflammatory responses. So, okay, here's the thing. We know that inflammatory markers are connected to heart disease. Those, in particular, those inflammatory markers are connected to heart disease, metabolic diseases, even mental emotional challenges. So when they say this suggests cultural experiences may play a significant role in protecting both mind and body, I'm sort of like, maybe. I don't know that I would call this study a total home run.
No.
I'd be curious to see more research. I'd be curious to see the same people in different environments. We don't have enough information. I think 18 to 40 is such a range. And who knows what other variables there are in there. I'd be curious to know exactly more about these participants. Are they inclined toward art?
Right.
I think for me, if I think back to walking through that gallery, that wasn't really a gallery. It was more of an indoor art fair. I guess there was something kind of calming and peaceful about it, but there were also a lot of people. And it was kind of moving from artist to artist is sort of jarring depending on, what's happening. I don't know.
Yeah. It could be what brings you joy. I mean, if these are people who like art, I also think if you go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and in that building, and view art in that building, the building itself is an experience unto itself, so like you could put Reproductions in there instead of the real art, with the gallery space that it's housed in make you have an effect.
And I'm also unclear, like, did the people seeing the reproductions know they were reproductions?
Right.
Because maybe that has something to do with it.
I feel like if we put Reproductions in your apartment versus original art in a mansion somewhere on the Upper East Side, like, it's going to have a different feel.
Right. The vibes are different.
The vibes are a little different.
Right.
I mean, you could do a dance in your living room, or you could go to Broadway. Like,
Well, right. So that's another thing is, like, I'd be curious to compare the art gallery thing versus other activities.
Right.
Like, was this significantly more of an impact? I also think there's a piece of the inflammatory markers that could be connected to the heart rate variability, because we know that increased heart variability decreases or is connected to decreased inflammation or inflammatory responses. And then that can translate into increased capacity for your body to handle stress and, what comes at us and all the mind-body thing that they're talking about. So, like, there's a connection here that makes sense to me. There's also sort of, I don't know, this feels like a little bit of a over-dramatic and at the same time simplistic view.
It feels like it could be skewed in a certain direction for the purposes of people who did this study.
So by the way, if you're curious, we have an episode all about heart rate variability from February of 2025. It's called Use Your Heart Rate Monitor to Improve Your Health. So you can go back to that one. I think all in though, does it hurt us to spend some time at an art gallery or looking at works of art from famous artists? Nope. Like, if it might offer some benefits, then why not? Let's go. I just think I wouldn't take this study all the way to the bank on its own.
No, I actually interpret it as go somewhere that brings you joy. That's an activity that is outside of your normal life things that you do.
Like we talked about in this week's episode. Go do something new and novel.
Exactly.
All right, I'm into it. I'm with you on that one.
Perfect.
Well, as always, everybody, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram or all social media. I'm at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Website is asaladwithasideofries.com. Pick your platform, send a message. I love hearing from you, your takeaways, your ideas, your questions. This is also the easiest way to learn more about working with me as your coach. Beth, thank you again for being here this week.
Thank you for having me. Always great to be here.
Always. I love it. And of course, friends, if you are not already, I invite you to the Happy Healthy Hub. You'll go to asaladwithasideofries.com/membership. This shows your support for this podcast, this community, and above all, it supports your health. On top of access to the community board where we can interact, ask and answer questions, and so much more, you get discounts, curated content, and of course, this week's recipe for kale and avocado salad with blueberries and edamame, plus 10% off the supplements that we talked about this week that helped me clear that brain fog and turn my brain back on in the last couple months. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.